Today the EV market is growing very fast. And at this pace, in the coming years, 7 to 8 out of 10 cars on the roads will be EVs. But in between all this, one company is quietly playing such a game that it could change the entire game. And that company is Toyota. Without making much noise, Toyota is preparing a new hybrid engine that doesn't just talk about saving fuel, but can challenge the entire future of EVs. Now, the question is, when everyone is lost in the electric dreams of companies like Tesla and BYD, what exactly is Toyota building that can quietly shape the market? Is this just an upgrade or a hidden strategy that will come at the right time and flip the entire EV game? Toyota's approach has always been different, slow, but perfect. It doesn't launch things in a hurry, but when it does, it forces the entire industry to rethink. So, what technology has Toyota used in this engine, and how will it shape the market? Before moving ahead in the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can watch such videos first. Now, before understanding that new engine from Toyota, let's understand Toyota's market. Because until you know how big the company is, it's hard to understand why any of its moves can shake the entire world. Simply put, Toyota is not just a car company. It is one of the biggest automobile companies in the world. Every year Toyota sells around 10 to 11 million vehicles. Many times this number is so big that it directly becomes the number 1 or number 2 car company in the world. Just think about it. Millions of people trust Toyota every year. Now here comes the most interesting part. Out of these vehicles, a large portion is hybrid. Toyota started working on hybrid technology long ago when other companies weren't even thinking about EVs. Today, out of the cars Toyota sells every year, around 30% to 40% are hybrid vehicles. In some markets, this percentage is even higher, especially where fuel is expensive or people care more about fuel efficiency. Now the question is, where do Toyota's cars sell the most? First comes the USA. This is Toyota's biggest market. Here Toyota cars are highly preferred because of reliability and low maintenance. After that comes Japan, Toyota's home market where brand trust is very strong. Then there are big markets like China, India and Europe where Toyota is growing rapidly. If we talk about India, Toyota is slowly gaining a very strong hold in the hybrid segment because fuel prices are high. People are looking for options that are cheaper than petrol but not as expensive as EVs. And this is where hybrids become a perfect fit. In Europe, due to strict emission rules, the demand for hybrid cars is increasing. In markets like China, competition is very high, especially from local companies like BYD. Even then, Toyota maintains a strong presence there because of its reliability and brand value. At the same time, in the USA, Toyota's hybrid lineup is growing very fast because people want a practical option before fully shifting to EVs. Now, here's a very important point to understand. While other companies are betting completely on EVs, Toyota is holding a strong position in hybrids. And when a company already has millions of customers, a strong global network and decades of experience in hybrids, then its new engine is not just a product. It can change the direction of the entire industry. That is why Toyota's new hybrid engine has become such a big topic. Market reality shock today. If you look at the auto market, one thing is very clear. EVs have been hyped so much that it feels like petrol and diesel cars are about to disappear completely. Everywhere ads, news, social media, everyone is saying that the future is only electric. Tesla has been made the face of this revolution, and on the other side, companies like BYD are breaking production records. At first glance, it feels like EVs have completely captured the market. But the real story is a bit different. If you look at the ground reality, even today, most of the cars sold in the world are still petrol, diesel, or hybrid. EV growth is fast, no doubt, but the total market share is still limited. Many people still think twice before buying an EV. Why? Because the real-life challenges are not shown in ads. EV is not a perfect solution. The first issue is charging time. In a petrol car, you fill the tank in 5 minutes and leave. But in an EV, even fast charging takes around 30 to 40 minutes. And normal charging can take several hours. If you live in a city and have a charger at home, it's fine. But once you go outside or travel on highways, even finding a charging station becomes a challenge. The second big problem is battery cost. The most expensive part of an EV is its battery. That's why EV cars are still quite expensive. And the biggest concern is that after 5 to 7 years battery performance may start dropping and replacing it can be very costly. This is something that stops many people from buying EVs. Then comes range anxiety, meaning what if the battery runs out in the middle of the journey? This fear is very real, especially for people who travel long distances or live in areas where charging infrastructure is not well developed. Ads show you a smooth experience, but in real life, many people have to wait for charging or take detours. Infrastructure is also a big factor. In some countries and big cities, the charging network is well developed, but across the whole world, it is still not evenly spread. In smaller cities and developing regions, driving an EV is still not as practical as it is shown. And this is exactly where many people start looking at alternative options like hybrids. In a hybrid, you get the benefit of electric as well as the backup of petrol. No tension of charging, no worry about range. That's why even today on a large population still prefers hybrid or traditional engines. New hybrid engine reveal. So far we have understood the market and the basics of hybrids. But now comes the part for which all this build-up was done. What exactly is Toyota's new hybrid engine and why is it being called so special? First, understand the name Toyota Hybrid System, and THS Toyota has been improving it for many years, and now its latest version is called the 5th generation hybrid system. From the outside it looks like a normal hybrid, but the real game is happening inside. This new hybrid engine from Toyota is special because it is not just made to save fuel. It is made to create balanced power, mileage and smooth driving all together. Usually what happens is if you increase mileage, power goes down, and if you increase power, fuel consumption goes up. But Toyota has smartly balanced both things in this system. In this system, there are 3 main components: petrol engine, electric motor, and battery. But the special thing is that all 3 are connected in such a way that the driver doesn't even realize which one is working at what time. Let's take the example of city driving. When you are moving slowly in traffic, braking and accelerating again and again. At that time, the car mostly runs on the electric motor. That means the petrol engine stays off and the battery provides power. This saves fuel and also makes the drive very smooth. No noise, no vibration. Now, as soon as you need more speed or want to overtake, the petrol engine activates instantly and the electric motor works with it to provide extra power. That's why hybrid cars perform well even in sudden acceleration. And the most interesting part is its power coordination. This system itself decides when to run the engine, when to use the motor, and when to use both together. The driver doesn't need to do anything manually. It is controlled through eCVT, which distributes power smoothly. Now understand highway driving. When you are driving at a constant speed like 80 to 100 km per hour, the petrol engine takes the main role because it is more efficient at steady speeds. But if you suddenly need to increase speed, the electric motor instantly gives a boost. This gives better performance without wasting too much fuel. And one smart feature, regenerative braking. When you apply brakes, energy is not wasted. It gets stored back in the battery. That means every time you brake, your battery keeps getting slightly charged. That's the reason why you don't need to charge a hybrid separately. Now, the suspense part. Toyota has made the engine more compact, the battery more efficient, and the motor more powerful in this new system. What does that mean? More distance with less fuel, smoother driving, and better pickup. So, this is not just an upgrade. It is a refined system perfected after years of testing. And this is exactly the point that makes it dangerous, because this technology is not flashy, but it is practical. It gives you an EV-like experience but without its problems. And when a technology solves real user problems, it quietly changes the market. Cost advantage game. So far we have talked about technology and strategy. But the real decision comes down to one place: money. When a common person buys a car and the first thing they look at is how much load will it put on my pocket. And this is where the real game between EV and hybrid begins. Simply put, why are EVs expensive? The biggest reason is the battery. Around 30% to 40% of an EV's total cost comes from the battery alone. If an EV costs around 15 to 20 lakh, then 5 to 8 lakh of that can just be the battery cost. That's why EV cars feel expensive from the start. Now compare this with hybrids. Hybrids also have a battery, but it is smaller and its role is limited. It only supports the system. That's why the battery cost in hybrids is much lower. This is the reason why hybrid cars are cheaper than EVs, and in many cases they are close to petrol cars in price. Now take a simple example. Suppose an EV costs 18 lakh while a hybrid car in the same segment comes between 12 to 14 lakh. That creates a difference of 3 to 5 lakh right from the beginning. For a common buyer, this is a very big gap. Now people say EV is expensive, but you will save money on fuel later. This is true, but it's not the full story. Charging an EV is cheaper, especially if you charge at home. But if you use public fast charging, the cost increases. In many places, fast charging can cost as much as petrol or even more. Now look at hybrids. Hybrids also use petrol, but their mileage is quite high. Many times around 20 to 25 kilometers per liter or even more. That means fuel expenses stay under control. And the biggest advantage, you don't have to depend on charging infrastructure. Maintenance is also an interesting point. EVs have fewer moving parts. So theoretically, maintenance should be lower. But if there is any issue with the battery, so replacement can be very expensive, sometimes 3 to 6 lakh. This fear holds many people back. In hybrids, the situation is more balanced. It has both an engine and a battery, but the battery is smaller and less stressed. So, its life is longer and replacement cost is comparatively lower. Now, talk about resale value. This is also a very important factor. Today, hybrid cars have quite stable resale value because people see them as a practical option. EV resale value is still a bit uncertain because battery degradation becomes a concern. So if you look at the total cost of ownership TCO, meaning the total cost from buying the car to running it for 5 to 7 years, then in many cases hybrids become a more balanced and safer choice. EV can give benefits in the long term, but for the conditions need to be perfect: cheap charging, good infrastructure and reliable batteries. And this is the real game. EV promises the future, but hybrids handle today's reality. On one side, high investment with future savings. On the other side, moderate investment with immediate convenience. So when a common person stands in a showroom, they don't just look at technology. They think, what is right for me right now? And today, looking at the numbers, many people's answer goes towards hybrid. Tesla versus Toyota clash. Now the story becomes even more interesting because this is no longer just about technology, it's a clash of two mindsets. On one side is Tesla, which says the future is only EV, and on the other side is Toyota, which believes the transition should happen slowly and hybrid is the most practical path. Tesla's approach is simple: all in EV. That means no petrol, no diesel, no hybrid, only pure electric. The advantage of this is that Tesla is fully focused on the future. Zero emission, advanced software, fast acceleration. These things make EVs very attractive. There is no doubt that Tesla has made EVs look cool. But this same approach is also a bit risky because EVs are completely dependent on infrastructure. Charging stations, battery technology, power supply. If these things are not perfect everywhere, then the user experience will also not be perfect. And the truth is, even today in many parts of the world, this system is not fully ready. Now on the other side is Toyota. Its approach is completely different: multi-path strategy. Toyota says that every market is not the same. In some places infrastructure is strong, in others it is not. In some places people travel long distances, while in others a city driving is more common. So one single solution will not work for everyone. This is where hybrid comes in. Toyota's middle path. Not fully EV, not fully petrol. That means you get a balance of both. If you want to do short distance city driving, the electric motor handles it. And if you go on a long drive, the petrol engine gives backup. No tension of charging, no worry about range. Now if you look from a practical angle, hybrid feels more convenient in today's time. You don't have to change your lifestyle. After buying an EV, you have to think, where will I charge? How much battery is left? How should I plan a long trip? But with a hybrid, you just start the car and go. But this doesn't mean Tesla is wrong. Tesla is looking at the long-term future. If in the next 5 to 10 years charging infrastructure becomes strong everywhere, batteries become cheaper and charging time becomes similar to petrol, then EVs can clearly move ahead. So the question is, who is right today? If you look at today's reality, developing countries, uneven infrastructure, high EV cost, then Toyota's hybrid approach feels more practical. It solves current problems without too much compromise. But if you talk about the future, clean energy, zero emission, advanced tech, then Tesla's EV strategy looks more powerful in the long run. In a way, this race becomes present versus future. Toyota is making today easier and Tesla is trying to define tomorrow. Impact on the global market. Now the biggest question comes: if this whole EV versus hybrid battle is going on, what is its real impact on the global market? Because this is not just about company strategy. It is deciding the direction of the entire auto industry worldwide. Simply put, today the auto market is divided into two parts. On one side are countries where EV is growing fast, like Europe, China and to some extent the USA. On the other side are countries where hybrid and petrol cars still dominate, like India, Southeast Asia, Africa and Latin America. Now the most interesting thing here is that every market has different needs. In Europe there are strict emission rules. Governments are pushing EVs and charging infrastructure is growing fast. So EV adoption is increasing quickly. In China too, because of government support and local companies like BYD, the EV market has expanded very rapidly. But the whole world is not just Europe or China, and there are many countries where even basic infrastructure is not fully developed. For people there, the most important things are reliability, low cost and convenience. And this is exactly where hybrid becomes a strong option. Now this is what is changing global strategy. Earlier companies thought that the future would be only EV, but now they're realizing that every market is not the same. That's why many companies are now adopting a dual strategy. EVs in developed markets and hybrids or fuel-efficient cars in developing markets. Toyota is the biggest example of this strategy. From the beginning, Toyota said that a one-solution-fits-all approach will not work. That's why it kept focusing on hybrids. And now when EV adoption is not growing at the same speed everywhere, Toyota's strategy suddenly looks much smarter. And this is also directly affecting global competition. Companies that are fully dependent on EVs like Tesla are not getting the same success in every market. In some places, EVs are selling very fast, but in other markets, growth is slow. Now, imagine if more than half of the world's markets take time to fully adopt EVs, then the demand for hybrids and traditional cars will continue there. That means the auto industry cannot suddenly become EV only. It will have to follow a mixed approach. Supply chain is also getting affected by this. For EVs, the demand for materials like lithium, cobalt and nickel has increased a lot. But these resources are limited and their prices keep fluctuating. If the whole world tries to shift to EVs at the same time, the cost can increase even more. On the other hand, hybrids help balance this pressure a little, and because their batteries are smaller. Now talk about consumer behavior. This is also shaping the global market. Buyers in every country think differently. In the USA, people look at performance and brand value. In Europe, environment and regulations are important. And in countries like India, cost and mileage are the biggest factors. And this difference forces companies to change their strategy according to each region. The global market is in a transition phase where EV is moving forward fast, but hybrid and traditional engines are still strong. This is not a simple switch. It is a slow shift that can take many years. And here comes the biggest twist. The company that understands this transition correctly will move ahead. Because the future is not just EV or hybrid. The future is that balance which can give the right solution according to every market's needs. Now comes the most real part, real-world performance. Because no matter how advanced the technology is, in the end, a car is considered good only if it works well in daily life, doesn't feel heavy on the pocket, and runs smoothly for years without trouble. And this is exactly where Toyota creates its unique identity. First, let's talk about mileage. Toyota's hybrid cars give very good mileage in real life. Many models deliver around 20 to 25 kilometers per liter or even more. But the special thing is that this is not just on paper. In actual city traffic, this performance stays quite stable. Because the hybrid system uses electric mode more in traffic, fuel consumption stays low. That means where other cars lose mileage, the hybrids show their advantage. Now, reliability. This is the factor that has made Toyota so trusted worldwide. There is a common saying about Toyota cars: buy it once and drive tension-free for years. And this is not just talk. Ground reality also shows the same. In many countries, Toyota cars run more than 2 to 3 lakh km without major problems. Taxi fleets are the biggest example where Toyota cars keep running continuously for years. What is the reason for this? Toyota has always focused on durability. It gives more importance to engine reliability, smooth performance and long life rather than flashy features. That's why Toyota doesn't launch new technology quickly, but when it does, it is fully tested. Now, talk about maintenance. This is also a big plus point. Toyota cars are generally considered low maintenance. Spare parts are easily available. The service network is large and the cost is comparatively lower. Even in hybrid cars, maintenance is not as complicated as people think. Because the system is smart, engine and motor share the load, which reduces wear and tear. And the most important thing, long-term value. When you buy a car, you don't just look at the initial price. You also think about what its value will be after 5 to 7 years. Toyota is very strong in this area. Its cars generally have good resale value because there is strong trust in the market. People don't hesitate to buy second-hand Toyota cars. Now think of a simple comparison. If you buy a car that is cheaper at the start but keeps breaking down and needs frequent maintenance, then in the long term it becomes expensive. And on the other hand, Toyota may feel slightly premium, but its reliability and low running cost make it a better deal overall. In the case of hybrids, this value becomes even clearer. You get better mileage, save on fuel cost, maintenance stays manageable, and resale value remains strong. That means the overall ownership experience stays smooth. And this is what makes Toyota different. It doesn't just sell cars. It sells peace of mind. While driving, you don't keep thinking what if something goes wrong. You just enjoy the drive. So when we talk about real-world performance, Toyota's strength is not just in numbers. It is in the experience. Running for years without tension, giving more value at lower cost. This is what makes it so strong in the market. If you like such informative and powerful videos, then subscribe to the channel now so you can watch every new update and analysis first.